One of the reasons that made this particular shell the ideal candidate for my 1980 Opel Kadett historic project car was that it had already had a roll cage fitted, probably for cosmetic reasons in the past, and it was the European type of cage which actually came further back in the cabin and down through this metal parcel shelf, which makes this Kadett D Astra Mark 1 into a saloon. So because it had already been cut about a bit, I don't feel guilty about making changes to an otherwise very clean shell. So ironically, because I'm actually doing a historic rally car which is to very strict specifications, I'm actually doing quite a bit of work to put the car back to standard specification. So these cuts were in the area where the seat belts for the rear passengers, which were an option, a high-end option in these cars at the time, this is where they came through. And so I'm just reconstructing the area beside it so that it's tidy again. And I want to exploit the fact that this car is the saloon version and make the most of the stiffness from that metal parcel shelf and the cross beams that are there from behind the seats, just to have the stiffest version of this generation of car. I'm cutting out my little repair panels. I've left them long so that I can mark them in position. This is to allow for the little curve that I'm putting in here. They were curved to make strength around that opening for the belts, so hard to calculate how much metal goes into the shaping. So I have it the right width, and then I'll fit it in, and then I'll draw my line for the inner edge there so that it fits nicely. And like, I don't know, that maybe way down the road I might run this car without a cage again and may have rear passengers. I'm building a car for life here, so way down the road we might not be using this car in competition anymore. Who knows? I want to have the option of putting belts in the back again maybe someday, and the car should be as original, so tidying it up. They were quite brutal cuts, to be honest, that somebody had made. It pretty much looked like they bashed a bar through the hole. It's very, very light metal to be working on, so just a couple of little spot welds to get the metal in position, and then I tapped it up and down to work it into shape. A few little welds underneath to join the gaps and to do the little bit at the curved edge. It's the same work on the other side, using the magnet there to hold it in for the first couple of welds, and then joined all the little spots I'd done. That also needed a little bit underneath. Amazing, this one never had rear speakers put in, at least not through the holes that were, or the blanks that were available to be pushed out. So cleaning that down with the flap wheel first, then the wire wheel. I decided to leave the welds underneath a little bit proud, just so that there is plenty of metal there. Grinding it down on the top, the metal could be getting quite thin, so just it's not going to be very obvious looking in from the boot. While I had the wire wheel in my hands, I thought I'd clean up around the rear window opening. There was a bit of sealant on that too to remove. I don't want to put paint over sealant. And then a little bit of my zinc primer over the welds. Might give this a little skim of filler on the top side at the end. It's nice to have this parcel shelf tidied up, and I put a bit of the primer around the bare metal where the rear windscreen will go back in.